Hello, my name is David Chavarria. Today I'm going to talk to you about is how to play the drums. Some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about is how to hold your drumsticks, how to play each individual instrument, and also how it comes together as a whole. Now you ask me, why is it important to have a drums in a band? My personal opinion is the drums are the heartbeat of the music, and it gives the band a fuller sound. Now let's get started. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about is how to hold your drumsticks. First thing I need you to do is put your pointing finger right here and your thumb right here. And you basically hold them with your thumb and your pointing finger. Now you place the rest of them down here so you can have a better rebound so it won't fall down. And most of the time when you play slow songs, you hold them tighter, and when you play fast songs, you actually leave them a little loose. Now let's go to the next thing. We're going to talk about each individual instrument. We're going to start with the snare. The snare is one of the loudest instruments, and this is how it sounds. Now we're going to talk about the toms. The toms are mainly the fillers. They actually, when you're playing your basic beat, you add extra little stuff, and they sound like this. Now let's talk about the hi-hat. The hi-hat, you basically play it most of the time with the snare, like kind of together sometimes. And this is how it sounds. Now we're going to talk about the cymbals. The cymbals, most of the time, they're just like also like a filler. And this is how they sound. Now we're going to talk about the bass. The bass is, most of the time you have it constant, you never stop the bass, you just keep it keeps a beat. And this is how it sounds. Now let's move on. Now let's talk about the relationship of each instrument. First of all, I'm going to talk about is the snare and the hi-hat. The snare and the hi-hat, most of the time, they go opposite. And sometimes you could actually use them at the same time. So this is how they would sound, like this. You see how it was back and forth, back and forth? Now, let's talk about the relationships with the toms and the bass. The toms and the bass, most of the time, they fill in the beats and stuff and all that. And you would play them like this sometimes. Now let's talk about the bass and the snare. All the time you play the bass and the snare opposite. And this is how they would sound. Now let's talk about the cymbals and the bass. The bass and the cymbal, almost all the time, they go together because it actually makes a better sound. And they would sound like this. Now let's move on. Now I will show you how to play a basic beat. One of my favorite that I usually use most of the time. First of all, I need you to make the sound of the beat that I'm going to make. So you would do it like this. And now this is how you would play it. So while you're playing it, still keep on saying it. And now we're going to add the bass to it. And you would be like spots and spots and spots. Now let's do it. Now you remember when I said the bass and the hi-hat went together. You heard how the bass and the hi-hat went together. Let's do that again. Now let's add all the fillers in, like the toms and the cymbals. Now here we go. Now, you saw how I did all that. Today, you learned how to hold your sticks and how each instrument sounded and how it all came together and how they had the different relationships with each other. And I also taught you how to play a basic beat. And I'm very proud of showing you how to play the drums. And go try it, you know. You could actually go to Guitar Center and you could actually play them there and just ask for some pair of drumsticks and they'll gladly show you how to play. So, hope you enjoyed. Now I'm going to go off and play my own style.